I never thought I'd be the type of woman who ends up alone. But here I am. I'm Meredith, 34 years old. And apparently I'm impossible to love. That's what Brent said. Anyway, what does he know? He's just my ex-husband who couldn't handle a strong woman like me. It all started about 5 years ago when we first got together. Brent was different from other guys I'd dated. He was actually trying to better himself, going to therapy, reading self-help books, setting boundaries. At first, I found it refreshing. Someone who wasn't a complete mess like most men. We met through mutual friends. He was tall, with kind eyes and this quiet confidence that drew me in. Our first date was at this little Italian place downtown, and he actually listened when I talked. Like, really listened. Not just waiting for his turn to speak. I should have known something was off when he paid the bill without making a big deal about it. Normal guys like to be praised for basic decency. Things moved fast. Within 6 months, we were living together. A year later, married. Everyone said we were perfect for each other. And we were, as long as everything went my way. Looking back, I guess the first sign of trouble was when Brent started his new job. It paid better, but required more of his time. Suddenly, he wasn't home at 5:30 every night. Sometimes he had to work late, or attend these work functions. I hated it. Who was he trying to impress? His boss? His coworkers? What about me? I remember one night he came home around 9, exhausted but still trying to be present. He asked about my day, and I snapped at him. Oh, now you care. After you've been gone all day, doing who knows what, with who knows who. He looked confused. Meredith, I was at work. We've been over this. I'm trying to build something here. Right. Your career. While I'm stuck here waiting for you. That's when he said it. The first time he tried that therapy nonsense on me. When you speak to me like that, it makes me feel disrespected. I'd appreciate it if you could express your feelings without attacking me. I laughed. Feelings? You're talking about feelings while I'm here alone every night. He just sighed and went to take a shower. Like I was being unreasonable. The thing is, I wasn't completely wrong. Brent did start changing. He started setting these boundaries. Like when I'd go through his phone. What's the big deal? Married people shouldn't have secrets. But he got all upset about it. Privacy is important in a relationship, he said, putting a password on his phone. It's about trust. Trust. I trusted him. It was everyone else I didn't trust. Around year 2 of our marriage, Brent suggested we try couples counseling. I agreed. Mostly because I thought the therapist would see how unreasonable he was being. But Dr. Allison just kept asking me how I felt about things. How was I supposed to know how I felt? I wanted Brent to stop changing and go back to how he was when we first met, adoring and attentive. Instead, Brent kept growing. He started going to the gym before work. He made new friends who were positive influences. He even suggested I find a hobby, something just for me. As if I didn't have enough to do managing our home and social life. I'll admit, I started keeping score. Every time he went out with his new friends, I made sure to make plans too. Sometimes I'd even cancel last minute, just to keep him on his toes. He called it passive-aggressive. I called it keeping things interesting. Our sex life suffered. Obviously, Brent said he didn't feel connected to me when I was withholding affection as punishment. I wasn't punishing him. I was just tired, and maybe a little angry that he wasn't trying harder to fix things. The real trouble started when Brent's sister came to visit. Chloe was this perfect little college graduate with a fancy job in the city and a boyfriend who looked like a model. She adored Brent, and the feeling was mutual. They'd sit on the couch for hours talking about their childhood. Inside jokes I didn't understand, laughing like I wasn't even there. One night, after Chloe had gone to bed, I confronted Brent. You seem a lot more interested in spending time with your sister than with me lately. He looked at me like I was crazy. She's visiting from out of town. Meredith. I haven't seen her in months. So, I'm your wife. I should come first. He shook his head. That's not how this works. My relationships with my family don't take away from my relationship with you. That's when I said it. Maybe if you paid more attention to me, I wouldn't have to find attention elsewhere. The words hung in the air between us. I hadn't planned to say it, but there it was. Brent just stared at me. What does that mean? Nothing. Forget it. No, I want to know. What did you mean by that? I panicked. I hadn't actually done anything. Not really. There was this guy at work, Mark. We'd flirt sometimes. He made me feel pretty, desired. Things Brent hadn't made me feel in a long time. We'd gotten coffee once. That was it. It means you're never here. I deflected. And when you are, you're talking about your feelings or your boundaries or your personal growth. What about me? What about my needs? Brent didn't say anything for a long time. Then he just nodded. Okay, I hear you. That should have been the end of it. But Brent being Brent, he couldn't let things go. The next day, while I was at work, he apparently went through my phone. Hypocrite. When I got home, he was sitting at the kitchen table, my phone in front of him. We need to talk, he said. I rolled my eyes. About what? How you violated my privacy. About Mark. My stomach dropped. Mark. From work. Yes, Mark from work. The one you've been texting. The one you got coffee with? It was just coffee. Brent. Friends do that. Friends don't text about how they can't stop thinking about each other. Friends don't talk about meeting up when your husband is out of town. I snatched my phone from the table. You had no right to go through my personal things. You went through mine first. Multiple times. I put a password on to protect my privacy, and you figured it out. That's different. How is that different? Meredith. I didn't have an answer. Because he was right. And I hated that. Things were tense after that. Brent started sleeping in the guest room. He said he needed space to think. I told him he was being dramatic. A week turned into 2, then a month. We were like roommates who barely spoke. I missed him, but I was too proud to say so. Instead, I got angrier. How dare he freeze me out like this? After everything I'd done for him, I started seeing more of Mark. Nothing physical happened. Not at first, but we talked. He listened to me complain about Brent, about how misunderstood I was. He made me feel seen. Brent noticed the change in me. You seem happier lately, he said one morning over coffee. I said simply. Is that because of Mark? I didn't answer. He nodded. I see. So what does this mean for us? For our marriage? I don't know. Brent, what do you want it to mean? I want us to try again. Really try. I've made an appointment with a marriage counselor. A different one from before. I almost laughed. Was he serious? After he'd been ignoring me for weeks. Now he wanted to fix things. I'll think about it, I said. But I didn't think about it. Not really. Instead, I met Mark for drinks after work. One thing led to another, and we ended up at his apartment. I won't lie, it felt good to be wanted again. To have someone touch me like I was special. Brent hadn't touched me like that in months, maybe years. The guilt came later. When I was driving home, I was cheating on my husband, the man I'd promised to love and cherish. But hadn't he promised the same? Hadn't he abandoned me emotionally? I convinced myself it was his fault. If he'd paid more attention to me, if he hadn't been so focused on his growth and boundaries, I never would have looked elsewhere. Brent knew something was different when I got home. He didn't say anything, just looked at me with those sad eyes that used to make my heart melt. Now they just annoyed me. The next few weeks were a blur of lies and secrets. I told Brent I was working late when I was really with Mark. I said I was going out with friends when I was really meeting him for lunch. It was exhausting, but exhilarating too. Mark made me feel alive. He was spontaneous, fun, everything Brent wasn't anymore. He didn't talk about feelings or boundaries. He just lived in the moment. Brent, meanwhile, was trying. He was cooking dinner, planning date nights, asking about my day. It should have been nice, but it felt too little, too late. Where was this effort when I needed it? The breaking point came at Brent's company holiday party. I'd been dreading it all week. All those stuffy people in their fancy clothes, pretending to care about each other. But Brent had asked me to go, so I agreed. Mark called me that afternoon. Want to get together tonight? I can't, I said. I have to go to Brent's work thing. Skip it. Stay with me. I wanted to, but I knew Brent would be devastated if I didn't show up. I can't, I repeated. Rain check. Mark sighed. Sure. Whatever. I felt guilty as I got ready for the party. Brent was watching me, a strange look on his face. You look beautiful, he said. Thanks. I adjusted my dress in the mirror. Do you think this is too much? Not at all. Perfect. We drove to the party in silence. Brent kept glancing at me, like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. The party was as boring as I'd expected. I stood by Brent's side, smiling politely while people talked about things I didn't understand. I was counting the minutes until we could leave. Then I saw him, Mark, standing across the room, talking to one of Brent's coworkers. My blood ran cold. What was he doing here? Brent followed my gaze. Ah! You've noticed our guest speaker, Mark Thompson? He's some tech genius the company is trying to court. Mark looked up and our eyes met. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You know him? Brent asked, his voice casual. Too casual. I think he works with someone at my company. I lied. Brent nodded slowly. Funny. He mentioned knowing you too. Said you've gotten coffee a few times. I could feel the panic rising in my chest. It's a small world. Is it? Brent's voice was quiet now. Small enough that you're sleeping with him. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Brent set his drink down on a nearby table. Let's go. Now. The car ride home was silent. Brent stared straight ahead, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. When we got home, I tried to explain. Brent, I can explain. Explain what? How you've been cheating on me. How you've been lying to my face. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Meredith. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been having an affair. I was lonely. You pushed me away. I pushed you away. He laughed. But there was no humor in it. I asked for space after I found out you were emotionally involved with someone else. I suggested counseling. I tried to reconnect with you. And you just kept lying. I'm sorry. Okay. I made a mistake. A mistake. His voice rose. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. This is a choice. A series of choices, made over and over again. I started crying. Please, Brent. I love you. I don't want to lose you. He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something break in his eyes. I think it's a little late for that. The next few weeks were hell. Brent moved out. He stayed with a friend from work, not his brother like some cliché movie. I begged him to come back, to give me another chance. I told him I'd end things with Mark, that we could go to counseling, that I'd do whatever it took. He just shook his head. I don't trust you, Meredith. And without trust, what's the point? I was furious. How dare he give up on us, after all we'd been through? Fine. If he didn't want me, I'd be with someone who did. Mark was thrilled when I told him Brent and I were separated. We started spending more time together. He even suggested I move in with him. But things were different with Mark. The excitement faded, replaced by little annoyances. He left his wet towels on the bed. He never did the dishes. He expected me to cook and clean, like it was my job. When I brought it up, he got defensive. What's your problem? You weren't like this before. Before what? Before I left my husband for you. He rolled his eyes. Don't be dramatic. You were already leaving him. I just gave you a reason. That's when I realized it. Mark didn't really care about me. He just liked the chase, the thrill of being with someone else's wife. I called Brent that night. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Please, can we talk? He agreed to meet me for coffee the next day. I spent hours getting ready, picking the perfect outfit that said, I'm sorry, but I'm still fabulous. When I saw Brent, my heart skipped a beat. He looked good, really good, like he'd been sleeping and eating well, maybe even working out more. He was smiling, genuinely smiling, until he saw me. Thanks for meeting me, I said, sitting down across from him. Of course. You said it was important. It is. Brent, I ended things with Mark. It was a mistake. All of it. I want to come home. I want to fix our marriage. He studied me for a long moment. Do you really? Or are you just here because things didn't work out with Mark? That's not fair, isn't it? Meredith, you cheated on me. You lied to me. You made me feel like I was going crazy, questioning everything about our relationship. And now, when it doesn't work out with the other guy, you want to come back. I love you. Brent, I never stopped loving you. Then why did you do it? Why did you throw away everything we had? I didn't have an answer. Or rather, I did. But I knew he wouldn't like it. I was lonely, I said finally. You were so focused on yourself, your growth, your boundaries. I felt like I didn't matter anymore. Brent sighed. I see. So this was my fault. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. That's what you've been saying this whole time, haven't you? That if I'd just been different, better, more attentive, you wouldn't have had to cheat. I'm not saying that. Aren't you? He leaned forward, his voice low. Meredith, I love you. A part of me probably always will. But I can't be with someone who doesn't take responsibility for their actions, who blames everyone else for their choices. I do take responsibility. Have you once said, I cheated because I chose to? Not because of anything Brent did or didn't do. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Because he was right. I hadn't said that. I didn't even think it. Brent stood up. I should go. I have a date tonight. The words hit me like a physical blow. A date? With who? Her name is Allison. She's in my book club. Book club? Since when do you join book clubs? Since I started trying to build a life that makes me happy. A life where I'm not constantly trying to earn someone's love and affection. I watched him walk away, feeling like my world was ending. How could he move on so fast? How could he replace me so easily? I went back to Mark's apartment that night, packed my things, and left. I couldn't stay there. Not after Brent had moved on so quickly. I got my own place in Chicago. It's small, but it's mine. I threw myself into work, into going out with friends, into trying to pretend I was fine. But I wasn't fine. I missed Brent. I missed our home, our life together. I missed the man he used to be. Before all that therapy and personal growth changed him. A few months ago, I ran into Brent's sister Chloe. She was polite, but cool. She asked how I was doing, what I was up to. I'm good. I lied, just focusing on myself right now. She nodded. Brent's doing well, really well. He and Allison just moved in together. I felt sick. That's nice. Yeah, she's great. Really good for him. She's a therapist. Actually, they have a lot in common. Of course she was a therapist. Of course they had a lot in common. Because Brent couldn't be with a normal person anymore. He had to be with someone who understood all his psychological nonsense. I smiled through the rest of our conversation, then went home and cried for hours. Now it's been almost a year since Brent and I separated. He's happy, I guess, with his perfect therapist girlfriend and their perfect life. Meanwhile, I'm alone, wondering how everything went so wrong. People ask me what happened, why we split up. I tell them we grew apart, that we wanted different things. It's easier than the truth. The truth is, I destroyed my marriage because I couldn't handle Brent changing, because I wanted him to stay exactly as he was when we first met, adoring and attentive and focused on me. When he started growing, started setting boundaries, started putting himself first sometimes, I didn't know how to handle it. So I found someone else who made me feel special, someone who didn't challenge me or ask me to grow. And when that didn't work out, I expected Brent to take me back, to forgive me, to forget everything I'd done, but he didn't. And now I'm alone, wondering if I'll ever find someone who loves me as much as Brent did. Before I broke his heart, before I broke us. Sometimes I think about reaching out to him one more time, to really apologize, to take full responsibility for what I did. But I can't, because deep down, I still think it was partly his fault. If he'd just been different, if he'd just loved me the way I needed to be loved, none of this would have happened. So I'm alone, 34 years old, and starting over, and yeah, maybe I'm impossible to love. But maybe love is impossible too.